Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your t-shirted historian. Hey, it's good to see y'all. I got another upper respiratory or cold, so you hear me hacking a lot. Yeah, that's why. I'll try to mute if I'm actually coughing, because I know that's really loud and annoying. But I'm doing a lot of the type things. That's not me trying to interrupt anybody else or make a statement. That's literally me trying to clear my throat because I've got stuff in it and it's annoying. But yeah, here we are. This has been an interesting week. I've had a lot more activity this week personally as far as what's going on with everything out there. And I just don't know. It's been pretty crazy. So many things have happened, and I almost scarcely know where to begin. But here to help me out with it is my buddy Grim. Hello.
Hello. Evening all.
And it appears to be just the two of us tonight. But
oh well. God damn it! That means I'll have to actually speak.
I know. You'll actually have to participate in the conversation a little. But
well, I don't want to butt in over anybody normally. It's rude.
Well, one thing about this is like even on my own show, it's like sometimes if you don't kick the door down a little bit, you'll just get run over, especially when we have some very exuberant guests.
Indeed. Indubitably.
But hello to everybody out there. OGGM, you gave me some love. Hey, I appreciate that, my man. Yeah, if you're over here from OGGM's channel, thank you for hanging out with us. And please throw me a sub, man. I'm getting closer to 1,000, and it's been a hell of a climb. 4th year on it, but I'm just chipping away at it slowly and steadily, and I'm gonna get there. Malachi's good to see you. Snortapoopas. Tapani, always good to see you. Johan, you ordered across 1,000 dead worlds because of me. Well, I've got something else you're gonna want to order here in a minute from the same person, because I just got my copy today. I'll show it off here in a minute. But Surly Unicorn, it's good to see you. No, you're not late. Malachi, I'm afraid our dear Dutchman is not feeling so hot tonight, so he's not going to make it. Ironcaster is out gaming, which, we would all be doing it if we could, right?
Acceptable excuse.
Yeah, acceptable excuse. So he's got the night off. And I don't want to get into what Harmony's up to right now, but suffice to say, she's probably going to be having a lot more fun than hanging out with us.
Yeah, I'm sure it involves iPads.
There you go. Hello, Paladins. Good to see you. Joe Grognards. Good to see you. Justin. Nice to see you. All right. We got 16 people watching right now, so let's be entertaining. All right. Might as well start off with a little show and tell. This is some cool show and tell I got this week. Some of you guys are going to be real happy. Yes, my money situations are still bad, but the nice thing is this I buy on credit. On my own credit, I should say, from what I earn from drive-thru. But this is a new one, and this is from our good buddy Alex T. The hardest working guy in games, as far as I know. But it is another solo game. This is the print-on-demand version. But this one is pretty cool. This is inspired by Silent Hill. And it is very dark and grim looking. I think I showed off the PDF for this before. But this is the actual physical copy now. And and I'm actually looking forward to trying this out. It's really well laid out. I like it a lot. It is a solo game, so if you cheat, you're only cheating yourself. And the nice thing about this kind of thing is it's infinitely replayable because of the nature of how it's set up. Now that is kind of an interesting question. I should probably ask you, Grim, because you come from kind of the same background that I do, which is the fighting fantasy novels and choose your own adventure type stuff. So I am curious. Do you prefer the more randomized encounter type things, such as would be in this book, or do you actually prefer the set pages narrative type things that you can go back and explore?
Well, I just wrote that Choose Your Own Adventure book recently, the naughty one. Mm-hmm. That was a hell of a job. Though I ended up using text adventure software to make it, which actually worked really well for mapping out the book and everything. These kind of games with the random tables and so on, I tend to feel like when I try and play them, I'm doing both jobs, like the games master and the player, because you have to interpret what's in the tables and make it work in the ongoing narrative. And there is no necessarily structured narrative to them, whereas where you're making choices and going from page to page through a pre-structured narrative, it's more like reading a story, but there are still elements, rereadability, where you take different paths and so on. So I don't know, I don't really get the appeal of the solo games, other than it can be difficult to find players. But for me, that's something I progressed out of into the more organized, normal sort of way of playing.
Well, not like I would wish for another lockdown. I certainly would not. But I would kind of figure that in that kind of situation, you'd be really thankful to have a lot of these solo games.
Yeah, it does seem to have helped them take off, and I'll probably experiment with them at some point, but it's fine that other people get a lot out of it, but for me it doesn't scratch the right itch.
And Surly, yeah, Endless Quest is the reason you got into D&D. Yeah, that is one of mine as well. So solo play is abnormal? I come from a solo gaming background.
I tend to think of them as distinct but related things, really.
Back when I was a kid, I certainly ran a lot of D&D, and pretty much the only people I could find to play it with was the one friend I had. So, I ran a lot of D&D for a single person who was either playing a single character or a whole party by themselves.
Yeah, but that's closer to full-on role-playing, even one-on-one. And one-on-one sessions can get pretty intense, actually. I quite like one-on-one play.
Well, I would say they probably would these days, but back then, we were kids, and it was all pretty much, like read the text box and, kill your friend kind of thing.
Yeah.
With the dice. I wish I had been a lot more polished and a much better GM back then. I can only imagine how much better the experience would have been for the people playing under me back then. But I don't know. We were kids back then, so maybe even they wouldn't have been able to appreciate it as much.
Yeah. I mean, and all the old books have been turned into apps and games and things now, and that's probably where more people get their introduction.
Well, some of our Scarlet Heroes games almost became one-on-ones, which is fine because it's built for that. But here's an interesting question. Somebody posted up a picture of the new Hero Quest, the newest one that was brought out by Hasbro.
Hmm.
and the price is like at an all-time low right now. It's like $60, and
Mm.
I don't want to buy another damn game. I really
No,
don't.
don't. Then you need to save your money.
I know I need to save my money, but one of the things that would make me avoid Hero Quest in the first place is it's an adversarial game where somebody has to play the bad guy, basically the evil GM or whatever.
Yeah, it's like that in Descent as well. But I really liked Descent. It balanced quite well.
Well, see, that's the thing. I would have hated Descent also. However, on Steam, I bought an app that allows me to play it by using the by using the computer as the GM, and it sets up all the scenarios and everything for me. So as long as I have all the pieces and components, I can basically play through the missions. And the newest Descent, the great big giant box one, is very much an app driven game. I actually played it with other players, and 3 of us or 4 of us, I think, actually went through it using the app as our guide to what went on, and it actually had a lot of fun with it.
Cool.
So my question is, I think I heard a rumor that the new Hero Quest also has an app to where you can play it solo or without a evil DM or whatever.
You can probably pick up the old computer game from Good Old Games. It should be much the same.
Yeah, probably. I mean, just about everything's being turned into a computer game. I mean, Gloomhaven became a computer game. So, I don't know. But, Crafty Matt, hey, I didn't see you there, but, yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, yeah, I mentioned Scarlet Heroes, so drink. Okay, so the new Hero Quest does have an app, but you can't get it to work on your Nokia. Okay, that's good to know. I think that's one of the things that pissed me off about the Kindle is I bought a Kindle and I knew it had downloadable apps, but then I found out that most of the crap that you can download on the Kindle is not supported by it, so I couldn't download a lot of the stuff I bought it for, because I had originally intended to put apps like Descent and all the other stuff on that and play from it instead of my phone. But alas and alack, it did not work.
For shame.
For shame. Technology is wonderful until it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's when the app is an add-on or something that you can have, I think it's okay. But there's been a few board games and things released where you have to have the app, and so future compatibility and so on is a bit of a worry.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other show and tell I have for today, I ordered this many, many moons ago. I don't even remember how many months ago I ordered this. It may have even been last year. But I heard this was coming out, and even though I already had a copy of it, I wanted to get this new edition, and I know I kind of got a little bit of FOMO, but I really think I came out ahead on this. I wish it had gotten here, a couple of weeks ago in time for Robert E. Howard's birthday. But it is what it is. It got here today, so I'm very happy to show this off. This is the brand new Arrow Video copy of the Conan Chronicles limited edition Blu-rays. I took the cellophane off, but I didn't actually pull out the stuff to take a look at it. But I figured I'd show you guys on stream what it looks like, how it looks, what you get with it.
Does it have the cartoon series as well?
No, I have that separately though. Oh, okay. So it's got movie poster. Well, it's not a movie poster, is it? Is it? Okay, no, it's a 2-sided poster. Okay, so we have Arnold movie poster on one side, and then we have just Arnold pinup on the other. kind of wish we had Victor with us because then he could do Arnold voice. And it's got 2 of them. Okay, so it has that poster, and then it has this one.
Cool.
Yep, which is also double-sided. It has this. These are not glossy; these are matte. So they're not like movie slicks. Which, I tell you what, I used to work in a movie theater, and people would steal those things. But it does have this rather chunky little booklet here from Arrow Video.
A friend of mine used to work at the video store, so we would get our pick of all the posters once something was out of the promotional period.
We had a video store that sold stuff like that or gave them away, and that is how I got my one and only Blood of Heroes poster that I kept up on my wall for years.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I had Night of the Living Dead 3 poster and a few other ones. That's the one I remember.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Night of the Living Dead, you know, David M.G. Died this last month from Dawn of the Dead, the chopper pilot.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I only found out today. I was actually kind of upset about that. But I mean, you know, I thought he was in pretty good shape. I'm surprised he passed away. I guess Ken, what's his name, is still around, and he's in good shape, I guess. She passed away, I found out. And this is obviously from the second film. It's kind of funny because, you know, people talk about there's no powerful women in cinema. I'm like, have you not seen Conan the Destroyer? This chick here, this chick right here would I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger was afraid of her because she would beat the. I mean, she was trained, but she was actually beating the shit out of the stuntmen. I think even Wilt Chamberlain was afraid of her. That was a great scene. And they really made Valeria more like Belit from Queen of the Black Coast in a lot of ways. But you know, and if, you know, I'm a Howard fan, and I have my misgivings with the films, but that first Conan movie was pretty awesome. The second one was, well,
not so awesome.
Yeah, it kind of was what it was. Olivia Diabo. Yeah. I think she was only like 17 or something at the time she filmed this. And Wilt Chamberlain is no longer with us. And Andre the Giant, who played the Dagon monster, was no longer with us. He's still here, though. 93 years old?
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, just an old guy. There was nothing like it at the time. Not really. I mean, Hawk the Slayer had come out a year before. But people were just shocked at the reception that first Conan movie got. Because I remember Raffaella De Laurentiis saying they weren't expecting it to be that big, but the first night it opened, they had like a line of people around the block to get into the theater, and she said there was a lot of like bikers and stuff. So Conan is just one of those characters that appeals to, you know, manly men or men who think of themselves as manly men, I guess. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so it's got like miniature lobby cards. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, you guys in the audience are kind of like discovering this with me because I haven't opened it. So
I felt the Momoa version should have been better than it was, and I can't put my finger on why it wasn't that good.
oh, wait a minute. What's this? What do we got here? Oh, and it's a 2-disc Conan the Barbarian. So what's the second one? There's a whole disc worth of extras. Ooh. I'm going to enjoy this. I know what I'm doing the rest of this evening. God, I love those sets all up in Spain. It wasn't a perfect film, but man, it's just so much to love about it. Matalo. Oh, pretty nice. So I have 30 days free at Scream from Arrow. How cool. Well, that was worth it. To be honest, I bought it so long ago and paid for it so long ago that I had actually forgotten that it was coming.
I quite like it when that happens. It's like a little present to yourself.
It really is. So that was cool.
I got some stuff.
All right. Yeah, I agree, Surly. Yeah, that Basil Polidorus soundtrack, I think a lot more than anything, that soundtrack made that film. Go ahead.
I got Maelstrom, which was an obscure British RPG, which I somehow missed when it originally came out.
It's from Arion.
Yes, they did a lot of the Fighting Fantasy tie-in stuff for ages. Yeah. So this was first published in 1984, which was about the same time as Dragon Warriors was around. But I never saw this anywhere, so I'm excited to dig into that. It seems a bit more of a kind of Tudor fantasy game with a bit more realism, so that'll be quite interesting. I got the companion for it as well, so nice. I'll be reading and reviewing that at some point. And oops, he says, knocking stuff on the floor. And I got my copy of Kinks and Cantrips because tabletopless. So
I am actually
get some use out of it.
Yeah, I actually want to see. I want to see you guys use that. Have you? I guess you've already told Cherry about it.
Yes. So, and she might join us tomorrow for our gaming session.
Well, that would
with
be
her
sweet.
top on.
Of course.
But she might be editing, so we shall see.
We shall. All right. Well, we're almost 30 minutes in. Our show and tell was that good, but I hate to do that because Animane gets on to me for that. He's like, you spent 30 minutes doing show and tell, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but it was cool. It was cool show and tell, and it was stuff that was on target.
People watch unboxings.
That's true. They do.
Yeah, it's a whole genre, in fact.
It is, and in our show, you get all kinds of stuff, not just unboxings, but you get all kinds of comedy and everything else. But one thing that's not funny is, Carl Weathers passed away at the age of 76, which that really hurts. And it's, I knew he was getting up there in age, but he always seemed like he was in such great shape. The guy was just, he was cut like a sculpted athlete he wasn't an athlete. I mean, he was cut like a sculpted statue back when he was younger. Yeah. Certainly in the Rocky movies.
Black don't crack, which can be misleading about how old somebody really is.
That's true. But yeah, I've been watching him for a long, long time. I think the first thing I saw him in was Rocky, of course, because that came out in 76. But I remember him in Force 10 from Navarone. where he was in there with Harrison Ford and Robert Shaw. Really good movie. I need to get that someday. Then there was Rocky 2. Death Hunt, where he played Sundog, is one of my favorite films, just because it's a Charles Bronson movie. But he is in that, as well as Lee. God, what's his name? I can't remember the other guy's name. It's kind of sad. Lee Marvin. And I love that movie. I think I bought that movie 2 or 3 times because I kept getting upgrades for it. Then there was the other 2 Rocky films, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, which Rocky 4 was the end of the Apollo Creed character. Then Predator as Dylan, and that's the one that a lot of people remember him from. Dylan, you son of a bitch. Have some fond memories of that because I saw it in the theater with my dad. Action Jackson in '88. I saw that in the theater by myself, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Happy Gilmore. I was really surprised when he showed up as Chubbs, and I loved him in that role. He was so funny in it, and I think that's one thing that a lot of people overlooked is the fact that he had like a little bit of a talent for comedy as well as serious roles. Little Nicky, I don't remember him in Little Nicky, but then again, I don't remember much about Little Nicky. I remember I watched it and I thought, So, there was that. I hadn't seen him in very much beyond that, I guess. He did a lot of television. He did $6 Million Man, he did Kung Fu, he did Starsky and Hutch. He did In the Heat of the Night, he did The Shield, ER, Toy Story of Terror, Colony, all these other things. I didn't see him in a lot of television because I didn't watch a lot of television. I still don't.
Mm-hmm.
But
we lost David Soul as well recently.
Yeah,
Speaking
I was about to say, yeah, we lost David Soul. They're all going away, man. But the one show I remember recently I did see him in was The Mandalorian, of course, as Grief Karga, and it was only in that show that I noticed that he started to look older. And he wore a lot of clothing, so you couldn't tell what shape he was in, but I could tell that he'd put on a little bit of weight. He didn't look like he used to, but I mean, the guy was 76 years old, so
it kind of fit the role as well. Anyway,
yeah. But damn, I mean, I think the reason I liked Carl Weathers so much was growing up as a kid. I was a latchkey kid, so I was frequently at home by myself because both parents were out working all the time. So cable TV kind of became my babysitter, and on HBO and stuff and Showtime and all that, they would always show like the Rocky series. They would show Death Hunt. They would show Force 10, and later on Predator and Action Jackson quite a few times. And those would come on TV all the time, and I'd watch them. So I kind of got to, at least know his stage presence. And of course, when I got to Twitter, I found him up on Twitter, and I would follow his tweets, and he just seemed like a cool guy, very down to earth, I guess.
Yeah,
he kind of lacked a lot of that that artificial Hollywood quality that we're seeing with a lot of Hollywood actors now. The ones that you kind of like wish would shut up.
I think he had a lot of ups and downs in his career, which probably keeps you humble a bit,
Mm-hmm. And maybe that's the difference between older actors and newer actors. But,
yeah.
don't know.
What Gina Carano had to say about him was very nice, very sweet, I thought.
Yeah, that was nice. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find that.
Basically, like he was acting like a mentor and told her not to be disheartened by everything that happened. You know, the good older mentor guy sort of role.
Yeah, I'll read it. But it says this is from Gina Carano on Twitter. It says, hearing the news of Carl Weathers' passing today is shocking. I'm going to struggle through these words. I was so looking forward to giving Carl the biggest hug at one of these fan expos I heard we were both going to be at this year. I looked forward to that reunion. Carl called me directly after I was fired. I wasn't in an emotional state where I could pick up the phone because of how upset I was, but we did end up speaking later on. He was gentle and encouraging and didn't want me to give up. He was letting me know that he wasn't throwing me away. He was trying to keep my hope alive in what seemed like quite a hopeless scenario. He showed me that he cared, and that is who he was. I bonded with him very closely on Mando Season 1 and 2. Jon Favreau felt he would be a good mentor for me because we shared the athlete-turned-actor bond. Carl Weathers, for those of you who don't know, was an American football player. He played for San Francisco State University and San Diego State University, I believe. He was a defensive end. But anyway, Carl was a mentor to me on set. He would put both his arms on my shoulders and look me directly in the eyes to calm my spirit. He had a wonderful perspective of telling a story that can only come through his experience and wisdom that he shared with me to help make me shine. I cherished those moments. I adored making him laugh. I always wanted to figure out how to make him smile, where the corner of his mouth would start to crack, and I knew I had him. Then out came his bellowing laugh. His laugh I can hear clearly now. His laugh is what I will miss dearly. His big booming voice echoed throughout the stage, and you just knew that this is what a movie star truly is. He obviously shined on screen, but man, did he light up with such passion in that director's chair. I'm going to miss my friend and mentor and that mischievous little sparkle in his eye. He was one of the greats and quite a groundbreaker. I am flooded by all the precious memories we had together. My condolences to his family and loved ones. He was a great man. Rest in peace, my dear friend. As he would say, hashtag be peace, my friend. Be peace. Sorry, I need a minute.
Can't really say better than that. It's interesting looking at his career, how, like a lot of older actors, he kind of slipped into voice roles in things later on. So, like in Toy Story, Combat Carl, in some cartoon shows, like he was in Star vs. the Forces of Evil as Omnitraxus Prime. He did a few bits and pieces in games, like he was Jax in Mortal Kombat X. That's got to be quite a role for someone like that. I would think. Yeah, he did a lot.
Yeah. We're just losing all these greats. And we're kind of losing them very quickly now. I guess we're just at that age, where these guys who were, maybe 10, 20 years ahead of us are, hitting their mortality, and it's getting painful, I guess. But like I've said before, I I've spent most of my income in the last couple of years. Well, I should say pretty much all the way back from 2019, I guess. I stopped buying new stuff. I mean, like new movies from the store so much. I mean, occasionally I would find something new, like, the newest John Wick or something, but most of my film collection these days is old stuff, from the 80s and the 90s. And it's because of these wonderful memories that all these characters had, all these actors. And I just don't know. Maybe it's a personal observation on my part. Maybe other people feel the same, but to me, the actors of yesterday are far greater than the actors that we have today, because it's just, they seem more grounded, more real. They had a different passion, and they were much more believable in the roles that they played. I mean, I'm not throwing any shade at Chris Hemsworth. He's a fine actor. He's a good guy, and I have nothing against him personally. So I'm not throwing shade on him so much. But you look at somebody like Chris Hemsworth, and then you compare him to like Charles Bronson, and I mean, Chris Hemsworth is like what, 6'2", and he's built like Thor. But I still believe that in a fist fight, Bronson would eat his lunch. I mean, I'm just being honest, Or Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers would have eaten his lunch in his prime, back in his Rocky days. He would have eaten Chris Hemsworth for lunch.
Yeah, a lot. The one like Christopher Lee was a Royal Marines commando.
Yeah,
to look at him, you wouldn't necessarily, think much, but he was dangerous as fuck.
He killed people.
Yeah,
he actually killed people,
and he actually knew how to sword fight, not just stage play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think to an extent, this is just us getting old and grumbling. I think because I watched my parents and my uncle, who in particular was really into his cowboy films. I watched him say, "Well, none of this new stuff's any good." But then, I was watching his old cowboy films, apart from the few greats, and thinking, "What the hell is this crap?" So there's some of that, I think, but there is something that's different.
Yeah, like Kurt Russell is still like one of the last guys who's still working in Hollywood that you still believe could actually school, some of these newer actors and whoop their ass.
Yeah.
It's just like they give off a different resonance, I guess. They don't feel like the manufactured superstar. They feel like they came into their chops through, actually hard work. They didn't have a lot of CG to carry the weight. These guys actually got hurt on set. And, Bruce Willis, when he was in Die Hard, I found out that, that scene where he's crawling under the table and he shoots the German guy through the bottom of the table, they had to use, I forget what kind of real wood tables with some kind of layer on top of it in order to, I don't remember if it was like, for the splintering or whatever, but because of whatever material they were using, it contributed to the sound, and it actually caused Bruce Willis to go deaf. So he actually had permanent hearing loss from that. And there is a scene, if you slow it down, where the other guy is shooting through the table. You can actually catch a glimpse of the table splintering apart. There's a piece of it that actually cuts Bruce Willis up in the eye, or up in the eyebrow, the eye line. So there's no CG on that. That was all real practical effects. Those guys actually suffered for their art, and they came out of it, battle scarred and world weary and war weary, I should say, and
maybe it goes in cycles. Nepo babies. There's a lot of nepo babies at the moment in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Though Kurt Russell's obviously a bad example because, he is one. But
yeah.
But there's a lot more of it. So maybe the next cycle around, it won't be as many nepo babies, and it'll be grafters again.
Well, Josh Brolin is a nepo baby, but he actually still comes off as a legit tough guy. And he's my age, so he's in way better shape than me.
We Brits just churn out character actors. That's what we do.
Great character actors.
Yeah, but so rarely the lead, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I like to think a lot of those British character actors carry the film as much as anything else. Because what is the Dungeons and Dragons movie without Jeremy Irons? What is Die Hard without oh my God, what's his name? Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber. So those guys carry their weight, even if they're not the main characters in there. They have the ability to make a movie special just by being included in it. Malcolm McDowell is one of those guys too.
Yeah, he turns up everywhere.
Yeah. Maliki. Yeah, Peter Cushing in Star Wars. I remember one of my friends actually making the comment that he found Peter Cushing to be more terrifying in Star Wars than Darth Vader.
One of the admirals in Star Wars played a teacher on a children's show over here, so it was weird to see him on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Maliki, they have gravitas. They do. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Classical training, dear boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right, Kit. The Tin Man was nearly killed by the aluminum content of the makeup. Yeah, the original guy. Yeah, the second one who came in didn't do a whole lot better. And the guy who played the Scarecrow, his makeup caused permanent injury to his skin, to where he had those lines from the makeup burned into his flesh forever.
Yeah, it still happens, not as much. The guy who played the weird bat bear thing on Andromeda, the reason he had to drop out the series because he couldn't handle the makeup anymore. He developed an allergic reaction to it.
Oh, John Rhys Davies had allergic reactions really, really bad to the makeup he wore as Gimli. It caused his eyes to swell shut. Oh, yeah, Virginia Hay? Is that why she had to quit? God, man, Virginia Hay was beautiful. God, I still remember her as the warrior woman from Mad Max, too. God. Tell you what, I still look at old pictures of her in that outfit and everything. And even though she's all covered up, she still is just like, ugh. Yeah, I heard about that. They left her back unpainted because they were afraid that her skin would suffocate. Yeah.
Yeah, though that may or may not actually be a thing.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is, but it was in the plot, so they thought they'd better leave a patch just in case.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, look at me. I'm turning into the t-shirted movie historian. But I really do. I love film. It's one of the sad things about YouTube is I thought I'd be able to review a lot of movies and stuff like that, and it's just like, no, copyright strike. Well,
yeah, same with music.
Yeah. It's a pity. Maybe one of these days we'll get a platform where they won't care as much, or they'll have some kind of way.
Balls.
Ecliptic. I bet they probably did. I mean, it seemed like The Wizard of Oz was like one of the most hazardous film productions I've ever seen. It's just like, like they were just trying to kill the people on that set. But it's still not as bad as The Conqueror with Genghis Khan. Or, I mean, about Genghis Khan with John Wayne. Because they filmed that. Damn, where'd they film that? Hang on. I got to look it up really quick. It was, I want to say it was like like Utah, and where they did it, there was a lot of nuclear testing, so a bunch of the cast came down with cancer because of it.
Oh well, better cancer than Mormonism.
Yeah, here it is: nuclear incident and cancer controversy. Of the 220 crew members, 91, comprising 41% of the crew, developed cancer during their lifetime, while 46 or 21% died from it. And they suspected it was from filming in Utah and the surrounding locations near nuclear test sites. Although, they said, however, tobacco use was very common and likely to have been a key factor accounting for these cancers. Yeah, it wasn't that you were walking around nuclear craters or anything. No, it was the smoking.
And that's where the Mongolians came from.
There you go. Those damn Mongolians. Yeah. Those guys were tough. And I guess they had to be because film was tougher back then. They didn't have all the safety shit that they do now, and they didn't have all the CG to protect everybody.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Speaking of smoking, I got some criticism for using a cigarette as a prop on one of my recent videos. It's fake. It's not real. See?
I saw that video.
Prop.
Yeah. I heard that. Yeah. They got upset about that.
Yeah, a couple of people. Setting a bad example for all the young grognards out there.
Oh darn. Well, jeez. I still remember growing up. The game stores and stuff had ashtrays. So. Hell, actually, I remember the first time they brought beer in to one of those. But anyway, so yeah, loss of Carl Weathers. That was a big thing this week. Another big thing was let's just go ahead and rip this Band-Aid. The 10-cent controversy with Wizards of the Coast, which turned out to not be a controversy, and yeah. I fully. Oh my gosh, L, are you back? Did you unban me? But anyway, yeah, the 10-cent controversy, which actually wasn't a controversy. Yeah, I was one of the people who actually rushed to get a thing out on it, and I sent it over to Animane, and I said, Animane, quick, we got to get a video out about this. So I'm going to talk about the 10-cent possibly buying up Wizards of the Coast thing. And he said, okay, I'll have it for you the next day. Well, the next day came, and the story broke that, no, that's not actually happening. And so I told Animate, I guess I don't need to put that out now. Well, he waves at you, but not me. Okay. I see how it is.
Playing favorites. He just likes my ASMR voice. That's all it is.
That's the ASMR voice.
I'm glad when I put out my video, I was cautious about it and mildly made fun of everyone running around with their hair on fire. But it was a plausible thing to happen. There's been rumors for years at this point, even before Larian and Baldur's Gate, that this was going to be a thing. And on paper, it makes sense, especially with Hasbro in so much trouble. So I can't really blame people for thinking it.
Yeah. I thought you blocked me too, El, because it's like for the longest time I would go on other people's streams and I couldn't see you or respond to you or anything like that, but other people would, and I'd be like, I can't see any of El's comments. Oh, he's got you blocked, I'll bet. So, and plus I haven't seen you on my channel in such a long time. I thought, oh well, he finally got sick of my shit and hasn't come back. So I'm glad to actually see you, El. I really am. But yeah, I got caught up in that controversy too. I thought I was excited about it. I certainly thought that things could not have gotten any worse if Tencent had picked up D&D. I mean,
Well, yeah, no worse than we were all expecting, I think. But they would definitely treat the game as a secondary concern to using the IP for anything and everything. But then that's what we're worried about with Wizards anyway. Like a lot of people cracked on my channel, they were saying things like, "Yeah, what's the difference? One lot of communists or the other," which shows a terrible grasp of politics. But I get the sentiment.
I guess so. Hasbro sees it as their cash cow. I don't know. I think they've. I don't think they've been. I think lately their cash cow's been kind of hemorrhaging because Wizards of the Coast. I mean, I should say Magic the Gathering. They're having problems with, and D&D has really suffered a lot since the OGL debacle.
Yeah. I mean, what Tencent usually does is that they buy up the rights to things, and then they give those rights to a bunch of their sub studios who then do stuff with it. So it would have been out of character for them to acquire an intellectual property, in toto, rather than do what they do normally. I think we're more likely to see Wizards selling the intellectual property rights to anyone, same as happened with Games Workshop over the last few years. And there's so many trash 40k games out there, but it clearly makes them a bit of money. So,
so if they're working on licensing some stuff out with Tencent, that means we're probably going to see quite a few D&D video game type things.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't see that as a. I mean, that's a good market move. I mean, try to get that IP to make some money for them. I still keep wondering whether or not they're gonna, completely convert over to digital, but probably not anytime soon. I think.
Not yet, but we're getting there with companies, I think. Everyone's got ubiquitous devices, but phones are crap for reading things on.
They are. That's why I got a Kindle.
Yeah, well, tablets kind of were hugely in vogue. Now they're slightly less in vogue because everyone just thinks, "Oh, I can do it on my phone." So I don't know.
Yeah, talking about the cheap Wizards of the Coast products, that was one of the reasons I thought. Another reason I thought Tencent would buy them up, because Tencent, being a Chinese corporation, Wizards of the Coast and Paizo do all of their printing of their books through China. So Tencent already being in China would I'm sure they could probably get a better deal from the party and, print out D&D material cheaper. Yeah. Oh, I was next to Ryan David in the block list. Yeah. Ryan doesn't appear here like almost ever.
Double clucked. L types for the chicken confirmed.
Yeah. RPG Grim, I agree. I don't think they understand gamer culture. They think they do. They keep hiring people on who click certain boxes, but they don't really understand. To them, culture is food or clothing.
We can survive and thrive without D&D, right? We have before, twice. We can do it again. In fact, I think it's some of the most interesting periods in game design and game culture is when D&D has kind of faded back a bit. Controversial.
Just as a hypothetical, let's just say, just for shits and giggles, that Tencent had purchased Wizards of the Coast, and we're in the process of having to restructure and reorganize as new companies usually do. which would mean, obviously D&D 1 or whatever they're calling this next edition that really isn't an edition of D&D, whenever that would have been vomited out. And then most likely you'd have had about 3 to 4 year window before another edition hit the shelves, and that would have been wholly owned by Tencent Corporation.
It's usually about 5 years between editions.
Yeah.
Usually.
So let's say, I don't think anybody's going to really receive this new edition of D&D very well. I just don't. But what do you see would have arrived to fill that void in that 5 year period? Hypothetically. This is a hard question. Yeah, it's a hard question. Is.
See, before it was Paizo and Pathfinder, but this new edition just doesn't have the market capture, the market interest that did, because that was continuity 3.5. Plus, they had all the mailing lists and everything from doing Dungeon and Dragon. And doing stuff for Wizards for all that time. Plus, they had the trust and the investment of a lot of people, so they were able to step into that gap. I mean, there was a point during 4th edition where you could go into a game shop, and there would be a wall of Pathfinder stuff, and the D&D books would be tucked in a corner somewhere. Multiple stores. So who would step in this time? I honestly don't know. I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be, or it wouldn't have been Pathfinder. It won't be MCDM, because that's 4th edition again. It appeals to a certain type of player, but not the broad base.
Yeah. MCDM is too far out anyway.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything like the Cobbled Press or anyone is doing that's that interesting. There's no obvious continuity 5th edition, which you would expect to do well. I don't know. No one's really positioned for it, but in some ways I kind of prefer that, because then the space is open for more stuff, more different things, and for something to emerge more organically, I guess.
Yeah. Darky Dark, I don't think, despite it being $1 million seller, would have taken up that spot. Although I'm a lot of people are saying good things about it. So
yeah, but it kind of straddles the line between 5th edition and OSR. It's still an insider's game. Yeah, it's not something that can really reach out and appeal to people, I don't think. Same Dungeon Crawl Classics can't, for much the same reason. I don't know.
I don't. As much as I love TLG, as much as I love Troll Lord games, I don't know that they have enough reach and enough audience that they could have filled the void. I mean, certainly they would have taken up more of the pie, but I don't know if they could have, become the new dominant force. That would have been cool.
Yeah, bit too boomerish, I think.
Yeah.
If you could get Games Workshop to stock any of the Warhammer RPGs in their Warhammer stores, no question, that would be the thing.
Yeah. 4th edition seems to be pretty decent.
Yeah.
That was another thing too I brought up in the video that never happened is I answered the question of who I thought should take the D&D IP if they could afford it. Would have been TLG, would have been my personal preference, just because they knew Gary Gygax. They are working with the children of Gary Gygax now to produce new things or old things. And to me, Steve Chenault, the Chenault brothers, really, they seem to have the heart of old D&D in their stuff. They have more of an homage to it than anyone else I've seen. Their company is in-house. It's in States, and And it would have been cool to see what they could have done with that IP. But I guess it's not to be. Yeah, Hasbro's going to hang on to it a bit longer, it looks like. 8 billion, yeah. Just by Hasbro, like must buy. Man, you know the problem, L, is let's just say that there was a company out there that was crazy enough to loan me 8 billion. Let's just say there was. Even if I did buy all of Hasbro and shifted direction on everything and started making stuff that everybody liked, because I think I could, because I know who I would put on my teams to make it, it would be years before it became profitable.
Yeah, and the shareholders would not be happy.
Yeah. I would pretty much, it would take maybe at least a good 5 to 8 years before it made enough turnaround profit to be worth it again. Just because that's the way, you know, the grinding gears of the economy works. Because, you know, first I would have to get a team together. They would have to rewrite everything. They would have to bring out a new edition. Then there'd have to be the hype train, and everybody would have to get on board with it. And then you get all the inevitable pushback from the 5e players who would be like, no, the company's been taken over by an old person who doesn't know and hates everybody. No, we can't do that. And then it would take people coming out and saying, well, yeah, but he's a Mexijufrican and he likes trans people, so, you know, he's okay. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can buy his stuff. I don't know. Yeah, they would fire me within weeks at the behest of the pension fund shareholders. Yeah, they would. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
you can do that, but you're not completely invulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, oh, you had me a trans. No,
Nobody
I mean,
likes guys because they're greedy.
I guess so. Yeah, I've said this on more than one occasion about different things, not that are not related to this, but yeah, I can solve all the problems, you know, from my armchair very easily. but in practical, you know, in practical purpose, you know, it becomes a different animal when you're actually in the trenches and having to deal with stockholders and you know, printing costs and IP costs and, you know, art management and publicity and writers and all that stuff in it.
And as we found out, so many people in the industry are assholes.
Yeah. Well,
get private eyes to do background checks and everything.
Well, that's the problem, El. It's like, yeah, they bought the studios, but seriously, it's like, I wouldn't keep the studios we have right now. Not on Hasbro, because it's pretty clear that they can't do the job. So I would have to restructure the entire thing. I'd have to fire everybody and cherry pick everybody from the bottom up. And this kind of leads into another topic, which I don't know if you have time for, Grim, but
I'm all right for a bit.
Okay, but the next thing would be, who would I hire on? Well, first, I'd get the old guys who are still around, like James Ward and anybody else who's still alive and wants to keep working on this stuff. I'd get them, you know, full medical coverage, everything that they needed to keep doing their thing, and just tell them, like, hey, we'll take care of all your bills. All I want you to do is just put your big brain to work, write me some stuff that we can put your name on and that we can, you know, market and sell and make this fucking hobby great again. You know, that's what I would do. Um, that would be my first move. And and that does lead me into your video about the healthcare system and old game producers. You mentioned in your video that, I want to make this clear, I'm not throwing shade on, casting aspersions on anybody who is disabled. Obviously, Grim is disabled, and he's my friend. I have many friends who are gamers, grognards, and everything else who are also disabled. I myself am probably looking at some form of disability. Well, I don't know when. I'm staving it off as long as I possibly can because that's my work ethic. I don't want to stop working until I absolutely can't work anymore. And until my body physically betrays me and keeps me from working, I will continue to work. I'm not gonna throw in the towel early and try to claim disability because I think I still have some good years left that I can contribute. But that's beside the point. But yeah, people who are on disability who can stay at home and have time to work on these things are obviously at a greater advantage than those of us who are out there grinding out a 9-to-5 job every week and coming home, trying to find time to write a couple of words or create some new images and things and try to get something done. And I'll be honest, I do most of my writing in the summertime when I have more time off.
Yeah,
I've said the same thing.
Writing.
Yeah.
Do more writing. I will sell your stuff. You will make money. And if you don't squander it, you can use it to sort yourself out.
I'm born disabled. Yeah, summertime is project time. Yes, it is. RPG Grandma. I'm doing a lot.
Old people, gamers.
Old people, gamers, yes. Retirement, yes. Yeah, I've said the same thing about YouTubers in the past also. I envy some of my fellow YouTubers who are disabled. My best example, who is also one of my better friends, and the guy who I credit with getting me started in YouTube is Fat Steven Seagal, who is disabled because he's, well, I mean, Jesus, I mean, when you get hit by cars, you're gonna get messed up. But
no, Malachi, you're autastic.
You're autastic. But yeah, it's like people who are disabled have more time to stream. They have more time to build an audience. They have more time to do research. They have more time for all of these things. And I'm not throwing any shade on them. I mean, it's like, that's great. I am glad that they are still finding a way to be productive and to, find fulfillment, I certainly love it when I'm on vacation and I have time to think and I'm not having to worry about, going into work and all this other crap. And I think it must be great to have that free time to be able to come up with ideas and projects and brainstorm and research and all that. But that's the thing. It's like, if you're a game designer and that's your sole method of income, it's either a hobby job like it is for me, or it's something you can afford to do because you're Grim, you're like Grim, you're disabled. Pundit is about the only person I know who actively can sit back and coast and make a living on what he sells.
Yeah, but then he lives in Uruguay, where the cost of living is pretty low.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe that's the key. I need to go, find some place to live where the cost of living is like dirt cheap and try to produce.
Follow the call of your ancestors southwards, until you find a South American paradise.
I'd probably die from lack of medical care there, but
Not if you have
no,
money.
yeah, maybe I
Cuba's
can.
good for medical care.
Yeah. Maybe I could claim since Dad was Cuban, I can claim ancestry and say, hey, can I move back into the old home, the old hacienda?
Well, wait till Trump gets re-elected and then claim asylum in Cuba. So
There you go.
it's a plan.
I don't know. But yeah, it's an enviable position in a way to be able to do that, to produce what you want to, because you have the free time and you have the spare income to be able to do it.
At least to live and then do this stuff on top.
Yeah, because if your needs are taken care of, it's like you have the free time.
Yeah.
These kids who are working at Paizo and Watsy and all this stuff, they sit there and they scream and they cry about how they don't make enough money to live on and all that, how they don't get paid very much. And I'm just kind of like, what did you expect?
Yeah.
You're lucky you have a job at these places and that they give you what they do, because if you're just an ordinary game designer out there just trying to huck your stuff on Drive-Thru RPG or something, you're working your ass off, especially if it's your sole method of income.
Yeah. If you're ever wondering why so many role-playing designers seem to have mental or physical illnesses, it's because that's the kind of people that have the time. But the other side to that is this retirement issue, which I was bringing up. A lot of the people who founded this hobby are dying off now, or getting really, really up there in age, and they've been cast aside and forgotten a great deal. Same thing happened to a lot of the original comic book creators, and it strikes me as unfair and wrong that Wizards has made more money off D&D, since lockdown, really, than has ever been made in the industry before, and yet you've got some of the original creators having to crowdfund for medical treatment, dying young, not getting out of their 60s in a lot of cases. Yeah, and that's a shame. In comic books, they do have funds and things set up to help people, and we don't have that in games. And someone who isn't me should probably think about organizing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mention comic books, because everybody remembers Bob Kane, right? Bob Kane, creator of Batman. But they forget that it's Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger. Bob Kane, took so much of the credit for Batman that, he made lots and lots of money on that. Bill Finger, on the other hand, was sidelined so much that he's almost completely forgotten about, to the point where he died penniless. I mean, he had suffered 3 heart attacks. He was buried in an unmarked Potter's Field grave. I mean, he died broke, freezing in an apartment, in a condominium. And that's a terrible legacy for a guy who gave us Batman.
Yeah, and Gygax wasn't in a terribly good state at the end.
No, he died.
Some people might say that's karma for kind of screwing Arneson a bit, but yeah, it seems to happen to a lot of these guys, and it's a shame. We shouldn't let it lie.
No, we shouldn't. I mean, Gygax died on his couch because he couldn't afford medical treatment because he was dying from cancer, which, now Now people who have cancer really strike me different. But here was the guy who used to be on top of the world, who had, tons of money and all this other stuff, and the guy died a pauper. And I wonder how well some of these guys are doing now. Obviously I don't know how well Kevin Crawford is doing, because I don't know what he does besides game designing. Is that all he does, is just crunch on game design all day? And
it's a man of mystery.
He is a man of mystery, and he won't come on the show or anything. He won't come on any show. I would like to think that Mike Pondsmith is doing well now, because he's got so much riding on that Cyberpunk IP, especially with the success of the game and Edge Runners and everything. I'm sure he's doing pretty decently now. But a lot of people forget that for the longest time, he had to do a regular job. He worked as I believe, a college professor teaching game design. So,
and Ed Greenwood's had his bumps and troubles. He's got a YouTube channel and a Patreon now, which I guess a lot of older designers could do, but you've got to overcome your boomerism to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. RPG Grandma, you had your art stolen? Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, Pondsmith worked at Microsoft. Did Gary get anything after he was gone from TSR? I don't think so. He lost it all, from what I understand. I know one thing's for sure. WotC has tried really, really hard to erase him and Arneson from the books, like he didn't exist. And every time you turn around, somebody's put up a hit piece on Gygax and how problematic he was. And there's nothing that makes me more aggravated to see that. I mean, it's like, okay, maybe he wasn't the nicest guy. Maybe he wasn't the best guy. Maybe he wasn't the best at business. But you can't deny that with Bill or with Arneson, he created something that was really awesome that we all enjoy in one form or fashion, or at the very least enjoy the fruits of. So,
yeah, the same thing's happening to a lot of the artists that have been big in the RPG industry in the past. They kind of ended up pricing themselves out of the market and moving on and doing bigger things. But now books don't sell as well, regular books, and they don't tend to use painted artwork for the covers anymore. So the bottom's kind of dropped out of that as well. It's it's hard times for creative people.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like only the guys who can continue to, find work are the, by, I guess, changing with the times. I mean, like Monty Cook, I guess he's doing okay.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. You'd think some of the bigger companies, right? Like Paizo, like WotC, who have the money, would go for an easy PR win by honoring like the founders and the old bees of the hobby and stepping in and helping out some of these people. It seems like an easy PR win amidst so many fails to do that.
Yeah, I mean, instead of hiring multiracial, ethnic, and gender people to work on your books, how about offering a comprehensive healthcare plan and a retirement? Some kind of system that takes care of people.
Cut down the sensitivity, readers, and put the money you save into a fund.
Yeah,
to help old designers.
Yeah, I mean, cut back on your staff a little bit. I mean, how many of the people that are you employing who are just taking up space? I mean,
Well, they fired all the ones that actually did anything, so they've been doing it wrong for a while.
Yeah. I mean, after they got canceled because they were wrong, like murals.
Oh, Elle, is that Capricorn tomorrow? Oh, I do hope someone can record that, or it appears online somewhere. I'm curious how that fucking thing goes off.
Yeah. I would love to be a fly on the wall on that one. No, hell, I'd like to be a guy in the bull with a bullhorn in the back on that one. Oh, you just
Not
gave the link?
I'm not seeing the links, so
He
probably
can't post a link because of the channel settings. But
you should be able to approve it, shouldn't you? I think.
I should. Let me try.
Yeah, apparently the people kind of sponsoring that panel are like known quantities for stirring shit. So well, Grandma, people suck. This is a universal rule.
Okay, L, you have some mod rights. Don't abuse them.
Don't push the red button.
Yep, there you go. I'm trusting you, so. And I'm reposting it here. And bringing it up here. So people can catch this, since you can't see the chat on the flip when it replays. But yeah, there you go, guys. I can. Are you? Do you dare me to take away your power? Is it too much responsibility for you? Okay, bud. Thanks. I appreciate it.
That's not the Victor Raymond who did all that Tecamel stuff, is it?
Oh God, I hope not. I bet it is.
Because if it is, putting him on the same panel as Tanya DePass is going to be interesting.
Shit, I'd love to get Tanya DePass on a panel with Dave Morris.
I'd like to get her to pass on a cake, but it doesn't look like she ever does that.
Mm.
That was a cheap shot, but I can't resist a pun.
That was a cheap shot. Yeah, Techumol. Yeah, that isn't controversial at all. No.
That's like putting Malcolm X on a panel with the Bledsoes.
Yeah. Join me as I have these two highly fomented groups together and put them in the same place in a small room.
Yeah, she is a shit stirrer though, Tanya DePass. So feel free to look her up on Wikipedia.
Good Lord. V. Raymond. I am a sociologist and LGBTQIA plus activist, founder of the Carl Brandon Society, a writer and game designer. And
he's clearly a crypto fascist because he worked on Tecamel. So
a bisexual Indian demon summoner. What? Wow.
I weep for the species.
I mean, well, okay. Our RPG Grandma, that is a good point. You know, why we get mad about old games and their designers just play what you want. Yeah, we don't. We older gamers, we gamers who've had a lot more experience and have dealt with a lot more crazy tables and had time to kind of grow up in the hobby. But these new folks are,
It would be perfectly fine if they would just leave us alone.
Yeah.
But they won't. So you get this endless cycle of action and reaction. And for some people, that makes them money on both sides. And it's, yeah.
I mean, I guess if somebody was offering me a job at a decent paying job, let's get this right. A decent paying job, and my only qualifications were my race and my, trans activism. I mean, I don't really consider myself a trans activist so much, but definitely an ally. But if that was the only qualifiers I had, those guys would be getting a bargain because it's like, it's like, not only do I have that, but I also have actual experience. But I'd probably sell out too. I probably would. I mean, I have debts. I like money. I think I could do a lot of good with more money. I could do a lot of good for other people with more money, aside from myself. So I can understand why people take these positions, and I can understand why actors in Hollywood make these ridiculous claims and say stupid things on social media, because it's not always them. It's their their managers, their handlers, their agents, and all these people telling them, you need to put up a post, you need to say this, because we want to keep you working. We want you to get another job. Because, how many actors in Hollywood get canceled? I mean, just today, I was watching another YouTuber who was talking about, I hope I don't get my channel shut down for this, Kevin Spacey. And how, Kevin Spacey is basically totally canceled in Hollywood, will never get another job, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but he was exonerated, wasn't he? I mean, I think, in fact, he was celebrating the fact that he's actually able to get work again. So, how canceled is he?
We'll know if he actually gets some work.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't seem to matter whether you're guilty or innocent anymore.
No, not really. It's like we've noted before, the words have lost power. They've lost their meaning. The word for Germans, the word for Russians of that same era, all these words that we were using for people, racist, all these things that people were calling each other for so long, they've lost their punch. They've lost their effectiveness. They don't mean as much. And, the more people use them, the more people are starting to wear them like badges of honor. It's like, oh, look. Okay, a good example. You have people up on Twitter who will proudly display screenshots that they got blocked by somebody as a win. It's like them saying, oh, he blocked me, I won the argument. And I'm like, no, not necessarily. I mean, he probably blocked you because he got tired of listening to your shit. That's the main reason I block anybody. Is I get sick of listening to them. I get sick of talking to them, debating with them, and everything else. Because I got shit to do, man. I don't have time to sit here and bicker with you on the internet. Fuck that.
Sometimes it gets pointless.
Yeah. But anyway. Do we have anything else, or?
Don't think so. Was there any other updates to any of the other stories or anything? Sorry, go on.
Oh, not that I've seen, but Mercurius has never seen Lord Baphomet on this channel. So here you go, Mercurius. I know you haven't donated anything, so call this one a freebie, because we haven't shown any of these today.
What can I say? I like everybody. Everyone is welcome here. Come on down, sign the contracts. We've got a spot for you here. We don't discriminate. We treat everybody equally down here in hell. This has been your Lord Baphomet telling you, stop playing with dice. Go play with some boobies or something.
Yes. So there you go. There's Baphomet. Yeah, Punkwaddle, you're exactly right. It's the memeing of everything. Anything of value and substance has been memed into a derivative offshoot joke that no longer resembles much of anything but people who get mad at other people's joke. Exactly. Yeah, I think the outrage culture, the cancel culture, whatever you want to call it, I think it's I think it's run its course. I think people are finally tired of it. People are finally pushing back on it. I'm curious to see where it's going to be in a few more years, if anybody's even going to be paying attention to these people anymore. But
we shall see.
You tried to donate something, but something is going wrong? Uh-oh.
It's probably because you mentioned boobies.
I guess so. Or something, I don't know. Maybe mentioning Tencent on your video gets you demonetized. I don't know. Oh, it's on your end. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I guess that's pretty much about it we've got for today. Oh, I did have one last final thing before we go, and I'll make it quick. So I've been seeing more and more on Pal World, and I just happen to have enough in my PayPal account to afford it. But I really want to know more about it because all this rash of controversy about it is just intriguing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to know? I've been playing it on Xbox.
I know. So
it's a lot of fun. It's like a more accessible Ark, so survival builder game, but with knockoff Pokemon in it. You can do all kinds of crazy shit, which reminds me of how you used to be able to do crazy shit in Ultima Online. So like you can catch people and you can put them to work in your camp, in your settlement, or you can do other horrible things to them. So
yeah, you can butcher them and eat them.
Yeah, and you can do that with all your little Pokemon buddies as well, and you can crossbreed them and make them fight for you. It's a big open world. You can bomb around everywhere. It's great, but you need to save your money. So
I do. Maybe some nice person out there will buy me a copy or something. But I mean, it sounds hilarious just because I've seen the meme where it's like you can take your pals and like load them in bazookas and shoot them at people.
Yeah, some of them have special abilities. Like I forget what the penguin's called, but yeah, you can load him into a rocket launcher and fire him off.
Wait a minute.
There's like a manta ray that you can use as a hang glider.
Punkwaddle, did you know that? You can load the penguin into a bazooka and shoot him? Oh my gosh.
I don't really know why anyone's kicking up a stink about it, because I mean, Digimon's existed for years. There's plenty of things that have been, close by knockoffs of Pokemon. I think people are just being weird.
Pengzuka? Lord Thoth, you know about this too? Oh my god, yeah. Nintendo is way upset about it. Nintendo is losing their mind, and they're getting trolled hard over it.
The only message I saw that Nintendo put out was like basically, yeah, we're aware of it. Stop bugging us. To all these people messaging them.
You were fighting the urge to buy Pal World. Now it looks like you meant to buy it. See, that's my thing. I FOMO is kind of bothering me. But Az loves Pal World. Oh my! I heard about those sisters. Yeah.
Well, if anyone else gets it on Xbox, I'll get a Game Pass so we can play together.
Okay. I
don't think it can crossplay, so
I'll have to watch some playthrough videos to see how well I like it. But yes, I have enough things to worry about. Like I found something to get addicted to here just yesterday. I started playing Fire Pro Wrestling because I picked it up several months ago when it was cheap on a sale, and I've been meaning to get into it. And I like the matches and everything else. I mean, there's a lot of timing and stuff like that, so the button inputs and stuff would drive me nuts. But what's more fun than that is it has a manager mode where you can literally take a stable of wrestlers, or actually you could take a company and you can build a stable of wrestlers and do cross promotions and, you know, and venues and all this other stuff. And it's kind of like, this has potential to actually be a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know. It kind of makes the capitalist in me smile, especially when you can make merchandise and stuff. You know, I'm selling out shows in rural Mexico. However, I'm selling the tickets for $100 a ticket, but but it's only at a gymnasium that only seats 1,000 people. So of course I get a sold out show every time. Oh, there you go. There's a Grim stream for you right there.
Well, see, Xbox doesn't have a native streaming capability.
You'd have to buy a card.
And I'd have to buy one of these cards. So, yeah, unless I can stream it to my laptop and then stream the image from my laptop, I will look into it. But, yeah, I'm not good at streaming games. I just kind of sit there in silence doing stuff. I'm not good at keeping up the patter.
That's my problem too. I get into streaming a game and I always kind of feel like I'm having to look over at my phone to keep up with the chat, and I feel sad for people who watch me because I'm like, I'm not super entertaining and I'm not really, really good. So maybe I could, you know, put on something like Sekiro and people can just watch me fail miserably thousands of times.
Over and over again.
Over and over again, yeah. Because I suck at that game. And I like the Dark Souls stuff. But
yeah.
But all right. I think we've gone far enough, I think, so.
Yeah, let's call it a night.
Let's call it a night just for the two of us. So thank you all for hanging out with us this week. And wow, we had 24 people watching us. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate y'all checking me out. You know, let word of mouth go, man. Let people know about my channel. We're so close to 1,000 subs now. I can see some light at the end of the tunnel, and it ain't a damn train. So y'all take care, and we will see you Tuesday. For Tuesday.
Are you playing tomorrow, T-shirt?
I'm gonna try to make it. I'm gonna do what I can.
Okay.
As I said, I'm sick, so we'll see how I'm feeling. Yeah. But I'll do what I can. I may have to chug cough syrup the entire time because this is actually interesting. This is a game that I'm actually, you know, I recommended to you and you reviewed it, so I feel obligated to play it with you.
Damn straight.
So there we go.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.
How do you look out the suffering of life?
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.